Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Pelshia, moderator for the conference call. Welcome to Brightcom Group Limited Investors Conference Call. The duration of the call will be for 45 minutes. We have with us today Mr. Suresh Reddy, Chairman and Managing Director, Mr. Peshwacharya, President, Group Strategy, and Mr. Narayana Raju, Chief Financial Officer, Brightcom Group Limited. At this moment, all participants are in listen-only mode. Later, we will conduct a question and answer session. At that time, if you have a question, please press star and 1 on your telephone keypad. Please note this conference is recorded. Before we go ahead with the conference, Brightcom Group would like to mention that during the conference call, certain statements in this call reflecting Brightcom's future growth prospects or forward-looking statements, which involve a number of risks and uncertainty that could cause results to differ materially from those and such forward-looking statements. The company does not undertake to update any forward-looking statements that may be made from time to time by or on behalf of the company. Now, I hand over the floor to Mr. Narayana Raju, who will update us on the financial aspects of the call. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Sophia. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Thank you very much for taking time out your very busy schedule to join today's call. We really appreciate your interest in understanding our company financial results over the last quarter from July 2022 to September 2022. I'm excited to share the quarterly results of our company. Our company for the quarter ending September 30, 2022 achieved a 52.48% increase in revenue and 51.15% rise in profit after tax compared to the quarter ending September 30, 2021. Really an exceptional performance by the team. The EBITDA too had a healthy growth of around 45.07%. For the quarter ending September 30, 2022, our company reported a consolidated revenue of 1,683.07 crores and profit after tax is coming to 320.68 crores. Let me share the segment-specific information for this quarter. So during the quarter, we have achieved a turnover of 1,571.18 crores from our AdTech digital marketing. This amounts to about 54.8% increase year over year. For the software development segment, the turnover is 111.18 crores, amounting to a year-on-year increase of 26.02%. On the return on equity front, I'm happy to inform you that we continue to be committed on improving the ROE. The ROE for the current quarter has reached to about 20.74% compared to about 17% for the year ending 31st March 2022. We are committed to improving our capital efficiency constantly and take this metric higher. Coming to the operating cash flow part. So we have achieved an operating cash flow of 216.5 crores during this quarter. Our positive, operating cash flow indicates that our company has generated adequate positive cash flow to maintain or grow the operation. And definitely it's an important parameter to establish company's ability to generate surplus, if not sufficient cash from its core business activities. For the quarter ending September 30th, 2022, our approximate tax rate is at 27.79%. This being a half year as well, let me walk you through the key things for the half year ending September 30th, 2022. Our company has reported a consolidated revenue of 3,163.67 crores. And it comes to about 45% of the annual guidance we provided, which is close to about 7,000 crores. And when we compare it with September 30th, 2021, we have achieved an increase of about 80% in revenue and about 88% increase in profit after tax. Coming to our subsidiaries, Online Media Solutions Israel has contributed to about 40% of revenue, followed by DreamAd Group, which is 18%, and Frontier Data Management contributing to 14% of revenue. Indian operations have contributed 7%. As of 30th September 2022, the total assets of our company stands at rupees 7,029.55 crores. Of this, Media Solutions has about 32%, followed by India at about 26%, and Frontier Data Management at about 16%. I'd like to walk you through another important metric, data staging, and we keep improving on that. So our continued efforts have helped reduce the number of days outstanding in total receivables to 131 days as of 30th September 2022 compared to 137 days as of March 31, 2022. Which is, again, far much better. Outstanding is 128 days compared to 133 days as of 31st March 2022. The number of days outstanding in software division is coming to 178 days approximately compared to 183 days as of March 31, 2022. So these are the key things for the quarter ending September 30th, 2022 that I'd wanted to walk you through. And I now hand over the call to our Chairman, CEO and MD, Mr. Suresh Reddy, and to Mr. Peshwa, our President, Strategy. And they'll walk you through more about the company and our strategy. Thank you. Suresh, over to you.
Thank you, Raj Garu. A very warm and a good afternoon to all of you. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. We've had a spectacular quarter. Very, very happy to report the performance this quarter. You've heard the numbers from the CFO. Broadly, we've done 1,683 crores with a PAT of 320. Increase from year on year about 12% compared to last year's same quarter. We continue to improve on our, the key parameters of performance such as ROE and cash flow have been another big parameter we've been watching closely. So what happened? What is the thing that's contributing? The big question is, what are the main reasons this increase happened from 1 year ago? In drive.
Your conference has been recorded.
Significantly small compared to the overall size. We have improved in terms of US and EU. And one of the things that has happened, in this quarter particularly, is some established players have been challenged. Things got out of hand in some large players. So that is a little difficult for the industry, but it also creates an opportunity. So as the advertisers fall off from some of the larger players, it gives opportunity to other players who are, the mid-size, to grab on this opportunity. It's almost like it's a land grab, which you may, in the old parlance. So it's a way for us to go after, this excess demand that's coming into the market. And I'll talk a little more of it, and I think Peshwa has a large story to tell us on the industry this time. So it will be very interesting for us to understand what is causing this. So that is an industry change. While it seems like, all world around, economy slowing down, what will happen to spending. But so far, what we are seeing is very interesting, and of course, we have to put our running shoes on and go after the business. That said, the opportunity is wide open. So then coming to little more details on what happened on the demand side this quarter, we added 5 new ad agencies, 16 new direct advertisers, and 7 new newspaper relations for a B-local exchange. This is important for us to keep adding to our network and increase the number of impressions per month, which is basically the number of opportunities to run an ad, which translates directly into revenue. So that is the broad idea behind why we are publishing these numbers every quarter. Also, in terms of publisher network, which is the reach of the internet traffic. So the long tail publishers and content creators now surpassing 55,000 this time. So these are 2 things that are key contributors. And like I just mentioned, is also the duopolistic nature of the digital ad market is kind of giving way to other mid-size and nimbler, faster players to ramp up, to take up the piece of the pie. So this is the essence of why we have seen this growth, and we are very positive that this will continue into the coming 2 quarters for sure. Coming to other updates in the company, we continue to do, like we say, that we have the team and the platform. These are the technology and team is what we bank on. The team goes out of the way to create opportunities. We have the key players to develop the business, travel all over the world to make sure we are seen in the right places. So to this effect, we had our Vice President of Business Development from our Israel branch, Ezquil Moskowitz, who was at DigiDay Summit in Miami from September 19th, 21st. And then Itai, who's the CEO of our Israeli office. They were at the event in Cologne, DMEXCO in September as well, about the same time. So you can see these guys are at different locations trying to ensure that we are seen at the right places to ensure the business continues to come. The same lines, our teams have been in East Coast and West Coast, drumming up business, and again headed by our Publisher Success, boss of our Publisher Success. In other developments, we have Brad Britton, who took over as the business development manager, who's come on board. And then internal promotion to Lava Yarimi, who's the head of operations for display now. She's been with us for 4 years, and this is a very welcome appointment that has happened. And other things, in other developments, we've had a new set of developers who's come on board in the Indian office. The first batch, about 34 fresh developers have come on board. They've gone through a rigorous testing process and they've come through that. And they're going through a proper training process right now. And we have, these guys are all young, wide-eyed, and raring to go. So we are very excited to have them on board, and we hope to see a lot of good things coming out of this young talent that's coming on. This is broadly the update in terms of where things have, what things have happened during the quarter. There are a lot of questions, so I'll try and answer a few questions, and then I will hand off to Peshwa. Coming to questions here, let me see. Yeah, there's a question about improvement in free cash flow. Healthy, positive sign. Do we expect similar performance? Yes, we have done all the requisite work in terms of improving operational efficiencies, like I was mentioning earlier, primarily to improve the flow of funds. We looked at the entire flow and where all the bottlenecks were streamlined. And so the flow of funds is a very key thing to ensure this free cash flow happens, whether it is the time taken to do an invoice, whether it is payment terms that can be renegotiated, and receivable days obviously tied to each other. So we anticipate the free cash flow to continue on the same line. So there's nothing to report on that beyond that. Then there's another question regarding, this is about Brightcom. In my last call, I had mentioned that Brightcom of 2023 and 2024 will be significantly different than the Brightcom of 2020, 21 and 22. So somebody has asked us to explain further on that. I think I did explain, but I will try and dive into this again. If you look at BCG of 2020, we still had debt on our books. We had complex cash flow. We had quite a few perception issues. We have over time worked through these, whether it is to 2021 and 2022. Gradually are in the process of killing all the ghosts of our past, which you may, trying to take one on one on each one that is left and trying to close it out. And you're seeing that gradual transition happening and us winning our credibility back. In terms of what are we looking forward, going forward, we expect 2022 and 23 to enter into a space of brilliant white period where we can take smart steps very quickly and boldly to bring the growth energy back into the company, bring that swagger, if you may. So we hope to do all the right things and win the confidence of the market. Some of the areas, that we have been, in terms of other things, I think there are also questions on what are the areas we would like to enter. Some areas that are of interest to us are start looking at content a little more in terms of we can get more into content, which is going to be a little more towards business to consumer play, whether it is in text, audio, or video content, and how it's monetized. So we will, based on how things play out, we will look at that. And we're also excited about AI-based innovations around conventional old school industries. I mentioned that last time as well. Medicare, media, commerce, manufacturing, logistics. These are all very interesting. It's very hard to tell right now which will pick up and how we can play a role there. So our approach will be, wait and watch, see how the market dynamics start to move, and accordingly play our cards. So this is the general idea that we're thinking for the future. We will keep things ready and be ready on our toes to grab on the opportunities that will come. Other questions, do you expect a slowdown in business and advertisers cutting their budgets in the near future because of macroeconomic conditions? This is, again, I did address that partially till now, but I will just try to go a little deeper into this. The CMOs and CEOs of large companies have predicted, digital spends would actually increase. Together with natural trend of money is moving to digital from traditional. Overall advertising may reduce, but digital spend has always consistently gone up if you look at trends in the past as well. The industry estimates are in few years this will be $1 trillion industry. And it looks like a simple straight line trending line. So I'm not going to be too concerned. If we are in a specific media format, yes, I would be more concerned. So here our advantage of being nimble in terms of managing multiple formats of advertising on digital gives us an edge, both in terms of whether it is, mobile, display or video or audio or whatever. Plus, whether we are doing an impression-based solution, whether it is a performance-based solution, it doesn't matter. We have all the tools to take the opportunity. So we are in a good place. We've seen how we will execute, and I'm confident my team will execute very well. That is a high-level answer to that question. And there is another question regarding the stake in companies. I think Boldwin, Onomagic, and such. And what percentage do we own? We own, I mentioned last time, we own 51% in Onomagic and Boldwin. Edge case is hard to give any percentage right now because it's a structured deal and it's run by a different team. But we are actively connected to them and we collaborate very actively and try to understand where they are going. Because this is a case, they have something called med case that has popped up, which is outside of edge case, where they are entering into healthcare and such. It's fascinating and interesting to us as a business and very connected because everything comes back to effective utilization of data. Then comes another question about Literally Media's other companies under 44 Ventures. 44 Ventures, other companies like Literally Media, Mindad and such. They are sister companies. We collaborate with them for business. We do not have any ownership in them. So there is no conflict like I mentioned in the past. They're purely in areas that we don't venture into. So it's absolutely fine. And it's all happening with both sides cognizant on how this is happening. So quite fine with that. Yeah, then there's another question again. This question keeps popping up almost every call. And I'll try and see how best I can answer this. Why is it taking so much time to reveal the name of the audio ad company? What's the update on the final agreement? Is it still in progress? We have an NDA signed with this company. So we cannot disclose. It's a non-disclosure agreement that you have signed. Till the definitive agreement is completed, we cannot reveal the name or if the deal is withdrawn. I can tell you the deal has not been withdrawn. We were almost very close. In my last call, in my excitement, I did say it would be a few weeks, but it did take a little longer. We have Mr. Brad Cohen and Satish Chiti who are working diligently on bringing this initiative to a logical conclusion. Things are positive. We continue to work towards getting this deal done. Then comes update on Lyco's deal with DOM. Yeah, the general understanding of commercials were worked out before the last call itself. The fact that the seller is a Korean listed company and we are an Indian listed company, the mechanics of final closure are not that simple. Hence, I have our CFO, Narayan Rajgaru, and Mr. Peshwacharya. Both of them are working on this and trying to, work out a mechanism where somebody in Korea can take a payment and make sure that it is smooth transition of agreement and money. So it should happen. This is just banking and process that has to happen. So we are working through that. That is where that stands. There is a question regarding the update on the regulator's forensic audit. It's again in process. We had an opportunity. In fact, our CFO and myself, we had gone back to meet the regulator to clarify a few points during this quarter. They had requested some information. We have provided that. And then we are awaiting fair response from the regulator. And as soon as it comes, there will be no delay. We will immediately intimate to the market. So there is no need for any speculation on that. And question regarding quantum computing. How much are you spending on R&D on quantum computing? It's a multi-phase investment plan. So in the early evaluation phase, it's under a few $1 million. And once we get some traction, we see opportunity, we will consider larger investment to be provided based on, of course, the ROI. Then there is other question regarding certain investor names who sold shares during this period and value of BCG, how it has gone up and down in the last 6 to 8 months. And what are the thoughts of the management? See, as a management team member, I personally or the management team itself, we focus on work required to run our company and operations. Stock market performance operations are really, reflection of what we do. It's it's very difficult for us to comment on, certain shareholders buying or selling. That said, we continue to work on improving the demand for the company. So we will continue to talk to large interested investors or shareholders to come on board and, see the opportunity, because as long as the fundamentals are working, I believe there will be interest, there will be new people who come on board. There could be lean period, there could be a peak period. So that is just part of the game. So I'm not very concerned about it. I'm sure things will all fall in place. So we believe as long as, we provide the, the requisite impetus to grow the business, the valuation will come, the right things, as long as strength of the fundamentals are there in the company. There's also a question regarding Media Mint. Media Mint deal has been reworked. What plans do you have for back-end operations? This is a good question. We are using both organic and inorganic means to build out a very robust back-end to help the company, start to scale to the next level. As mentioned, I just talked to you about the next generation of how we are building our teams. Also, we would not be hesitant to bring in partners when needed. So both these options will remain. So we may use our own team, or we may use teams from Media Mint or anybody of that nature to come on board to support when the time is when the appropriate time comes up. This is broadly my update. Let me see if I missed something. There's a question regarding what's your message to the shareholders with respect to all the fluctuations. Like I mentioned earlier, we believe the market will always understand and re-rate the valuation. We definitely think this is an opportunity, buying opportunity for people who believe in the fundamentals of the company. And we will continue to build that strength to strength. That's the bottom line that we are focused on. With that, I'll hand over to Peshwa. Peshwa, can you please take on?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Suresh. Thank you. I would like to again say a very good afternoon to everyone who has taken time to join this investor call. I'm really thankful and obviously look forward to your thoughts and comments. So the way I would like to do is I actually would like to kind of try to answer a few queries which has come to us. So let me first try to answer that and then I'll go forward. And that's how I'll summarize some of the points. So I think one of the queries which has come is a little bit of comments on our Brightcom Group's India or standalone business. So on this, if you see, actually our CFO, Mr. Raju, has already explained the numbers. But if we go a little bit into the strategy and what we considered is the strategic long-range plan for our India business. Let me try to explain that. So we are a global company, and if you look at the ad tech and the digital media world, it's a fairly global business. And Suresh has already explained and told you that based on even a straight line in growth, the overall industry looks to surpass $1 trillion shortly in the next few years. And I, coming from the marketing world last 20, 30 years, I think actually it might be even further exponential growth. That is what I think. Now, in terms of our India business, presently it's mostly software development and technology creation. Right? It is essentially a software product business. Frankly, we still haven't entered the digital media or kind of ad tech business in India in a big way. This needs a little different outlook and a little different set of sales distribution matrix in India. So needless to say, at any point of time when we decide to really enter this part of the business in India in a big way, our top line for our Indian business will sharply go up. Because the whole digital AgTech scene in India is also growing very large. And there is digitalization, there is digital marketing, all of you know as consumers and investors. But frankly, in the short term, we are really to develop high quality software from our India base. And in that direction, I think we are actually building an effective tech team. And I'm using the word effective. That's very important. And already I think Suresh told all of you that we have really gone into hiring smart young batch of software engineers. And it is through a rigorous recruitment process. We really cherry-picked these young people and putting them through the training, not just of programming and coding. I think as management, all of us believe that a little bit of managerial and leadership qualities also need to be built into these young people, And I believe this is really something which will be transformational for the company, this young talent. So talent building is also important. And so therefore, in the short term, do not expect explosive growth from our India business. Rather, our India operation will fuel the overall growth of Brightcom Group globally. That's what I think. So in little bit in management language, we say that we are actually developing the sales and tech capability through India rather than just growing the India sales. So this I wanted to kind of share with all of you. Okay. I think the next question is a fairly long question which has come about. What are the things which we can do around Brightcom Group's image and perception in the market? Yeah. So I think this is a question which has come. And again, let me reiterate. As management, we focus on the key work required really to run the company and the operations. And the stock market performance and perception is really a cumulative reflection of our work and of course multiple perceptual factors. So, it is, we have to see how I can comment on the current share price or future movement. But as management, we are completely cognizant of the same and acutely aware. And if you ask me, I believe that presently the share price is not really at a fair reflection of the potential and future of the company. So presently, if you track the P ratios, it's hovering anything between 6 to 9. And I think the fair P ratio, if I just look at, the industry and some of the other players globally, can be anything from 20 to 50 P, even higher in fact. And you can, all of you look at some of the P ratios of the, last few years of one of the players in the industry called the Trade Desk. You can actually have a look and see what I'm saying. Let me also kind of state that, some of the inherent shares and positives of the company which will actually fuel our future growth. So that's what I think. That's really what our role should be, to really drive the company inherently and build on the positive bulwark. As a company, we have always focused on the internal work, not really too much of external communication. And I feel at this stage, if some of these points are effectively communicated to all of you and to the investor community at large, to understand and comprehend the company better, and also thus creating a fair positive perception for us, I think that will help. So this is one thing which I think we as, management will see what part of our time can be dedicated to this. I think that is important, so we'll do that. So one of the key things which I want to tell all of you and share with all of you is that I've seen from there's something called demystification of what really our business is. Because our business is a little different from a usual product and service business. A lot of potential investors may not completely comprehend the nature of our business, and it is our role to really make it through every communication as easy and comprehensible as possible for all our stakeholders. That's really our role, my role in some way. So we are a global ad tech or an advertising technology company. In other words, sometimes it is loosely called digital marketing company. And we have tech platforms. And there on one side, we have all the advertisers, people who want to advertise and communicate. These are all large global agencies or brands. So sometimes directly it can be the company brands. And on the other side, we have what is called content creators. In the digital marketing language, they are called publishers. And I think Suresh already talked about it, that how that side, we already have, 60,000 plus and growing every. And therefore, what we do is we deliver the communication advertisement to the target audience. That's really the nature and the purpose of our business. So we are the tech platform which does that. And we are a key platform and intermediary in this process. And frankly, and many of you would be with our company for a long time, you would know that today this whole process is completely technology driven. It's moving away from manual media completely. And it is this technology, frankly, that we specialize in, and we do it across the world. And current trends also indicate that a lot of the advertising companies or brands are actually moving away from traditional marketing towards digital and digital marketing. And we mentioned this 1 trillion figure before also. So hence, we are operating in a high growth, high potential market or category, as we call it. And I personally think that this category growth story, together with its inherent buoyancy, I think needs to be communicated more effectively. And it is very important for all our stakeholders and community to comprehend and appreciate this. So I think this is one of the clear, roles for all of us and me, and I'll do that. Second one is understanding and making it very clear what are really some of the strategic long-term drivers of our company. And I'm just thinking and kind of sharing with you, according to me, what are some of the long-term drivers. Number one, overall buoyancy and growth of the company. So that's clearly one of the industry. That's clearly one. Number two, our Brightcom strong and proven tech platforms, and we have a large number of tech platforms like a Compass or like Be Local and various others. These are really proven tech platforms. And anyone who's in marketing knows that anything which is proven always is effectively used by the client much better. Third one is our extensive network and presence through 25 strategically located offices, where our team are actually able to market, brand, sell our products and services, both current and new. And thus we have a very strong reach globally. And this is a very part, I don't think, too much, a lot of us appreciate this, actually of running a fairly global company, because today each, country there will be different practices, different ways of doing things. So this is the next one. Fourth one, I think it's our, one of the things, is how we are able to get more customer lifetime value out of our existing, customer base, by really offering them better value, better customer satisfaction and better performance, and ultimately this leads to getting a larger share of their wallet. In simple terms, it means we might go into the same customer, let's say WPP group in UK or wherever, but moment you provide that, we'll be getting a higher market share within the same customer. That's what it means. And we are also constantly developing and venturing into new areas of technology. This is actually a must for any technology company. And one of these areas, if you do it well, can actually become the killer category of the future. And, for example, quantum computing, where we are looking at, where we are developing hopefully some more IPRs through research, will really help both as a company and our clients. And this is clearly an opportunity area of high growth in the future. And some of you may have already noted that, quantum computing, this whole area, as per, one of those big consulting organizations, I think Boston Consulting Group, they have actually said that it's a $850 billion opportunity globally. I mean, for everything, not just ad tech, including simulation, optimization, cryptography, all the use cases of QC, quantum computing. So this is clearly, and I think, we are fortunate and that we have taken that decision of really investing it in early on, and I see a kind of huge opportunity in this area, ability to create some IPRs and some differentiation. Coming to the next area where we are thinking actively is what is called digital audio. Now, this is a strong driver, according to me, because if you look at actually the consumer behavior of across the global consumers, across, it's not just in the world, but even India, Asia, all the countries, these consumers are actually wanting to do multitasking. So the young and millennial consumers are wanting to do multitasking, and therefore digital audio consumption is a huge growth area. So what it means is simple. With audio as a medium, the consumers can actually tune into different kinds of audio even when they are doing work, even when they are driving, they are writing something, sometimes at home they are cooking or doing their household chores, which is actually not possible in other forms of digital, web or even in video. So this is a big one, and this is one of the clear trends, which we are witnessing. And also there is the emergence of audio in public areas, offices, retail, cafes. People are actually wanting to consume audio, and all of this audio is in the form of digital audio. And therefore the market really has a fairly high, potential. And I think already in US, this is 210 million or something is the consumer base, So, and clearly that's a kind of focus market and for all the people who want to be in this. Even peer-to-peer communication today, if you notice, is happening over audio rather than text, and this is across all. So people are actually in India, all of you would notice that large use of voice notes, rather than text. That's what is being digitally. So at some point of time, even within this peer-to-peer, audio, there will be a chance for some kind of advertising coming in. Okay. And the other thing we have noticed in audio is that there is a huge amount of specialized content which is slowly getting consumed via audio podcasts and etc. So this is another area of future growth. So we are essentially, so these are some of the things which make that whole digital audio business for us to be fairly bullish, and it's a buoyant business according to us. We are also building a strong back-end expertise in software engineering and building a team of software and tech professionals. I think Suresh, who can actually be the future leaders of our company, and Suresh has already told you a little bit about that. So this, some of the things I hope I have been able to answer. Just to add, we also plan to be more active communicating about some of our business initiatives, which include better communication about the company and its initiative to the outside world. Of course, we have to be careful that, sometimes there is a competitive framework. We need to be careful of that, but we want to do this. And also increase participation and involvement in the various relevant events and summits, and this already we are doing across the world, but we'll kind of continue doing it and possibly enhancing it to showcase our company and the products to potential customers and our ecosystem. So just to mention that there's something called a TIE Global Summit happening in India in December, and we are participating in that, so just to give you kind of information. So now it would be possibly a good idea for me to kind of highlight some of the overall trends in the AdTech industry. Some of these things which I kind of talking is not necessarily directly related to Brightcom Group. this is really more about industry, but clearly it will give a perspective, where we are going. Our screen time is actually increasing if one looks at it, And I'm trying to give you some of the appointment top 7, 8 possibly pointers which I have kind of thought in my mind. Clearly screen time is increasing. There is increased privacy restrictions, and of course there are a little bit of economic pressures of the economy. And in fact, because of these economic pressures, very interestingly, people are moving away from what is called SVOD models to AVOD models, which is essentially means people are preferring ad-supported models, many of the media businesses and others, and this has been seen across the various companies and Netflix and others. Okay. So in terms of CTV ad spending, CTV means connected TV. Is actually slated to increase from $14.1 billion in 2022 to $18.29 billion in 2024. And all the Netflix and Disney and other OTTs, they are launching ad-supported models, what we call AVOD. And therefore, the whole advertising pie, ad tech pie will actually significantly grow. So this is one of the very important developments in the industry. Second is there's something called onset of first-party data infrastructure. That's what is happening, and Google has delayed the end of third-party cookies again. What was originally planned for 2022 has been deferred possibly 2024. So ad tech industry is actually looking to implement a high-level solution based on sustainable universal ID, first-party infrastructure, transparent consent mechanism for sharing data to address the privacy concerns, particularly in Europe and North America. The second pointer which I wanted to say is there's a lot of possible convergence of SSP and DSP, which is basically supply-side platforms and demand-side platforms. In this landscape of data scarcity, mobile DSPs and SSPs are forced to adjust to new technologies, integration, and perhaps even expansion to different kind of business models. So the lines between buy-side and sell-side companies are slowly, increasingly becoming blurred. So, and in 2023-24, programmatic platforms should have to diversify their business models and create a holistic system that connects buyers, sellers, publishers, data platforms, and everything else in between in a way that's efficient, transparent, data rich, and equipped with the ad fraud detection. So this is interesting because it means that even technology companies need to constantly evolve. And large demand-side players are creating open architecture to facilitate handshakes with publishers and supply side. So we are actually coming back to this open architecture. The next one I think is very important one called contextual advertising. And any of you who are consumers will always also know that we are actually getting a lot of contextual advertising. This is a proven way of generating revenues without the bother of too much of further high-end high-tech. And people have been already using this technology for some time. So the major ad tech trend in 2023 is contextual advertising that can identify context through different lenses, semantics, videos, user behavior metrics, and provide advertisers with rich metrics for cookieless targeting and audience activation and engagement. I am a very strong votary of, if you ask me, of contextual advertising. My experience of a CMO of last 25, 30 years, I am a very strong votary of this. So I think this is again going to kind of increase, contextual advertising. Generally, CTV advertising is perceived as difficult to measure. However, with the right tech stack and integration, connected TVs can be tracked with precision almost equal to other digital channels. And IP addresses and device blocks can be coupled with the advertiser's first-party data, indicated research and segmentation to reinforce the targeting. In fact, if you see, a lot of premium households, even in India today, are watching on their same television set more of CTV than LTV, linear TV. Okay, so that's a clear trend, and internationally, of course, it's happening. Then there is next one is about IIB standards and new versions. IIB Tech Lab has also released Ads Text 1.1 with improved methods to ensure legitimacy of a traffic traded. So, whatever is getting traded and paid for is actually legitimate traffic. That is very clear. So some of these tech standards are coming up. Programmatic retail media networks. Okay, this is very interesting. Many retail media networks such as Walmart and Target work as closed-loop ecosystem. E-commerce sites provide their advertising partners or agencies they contacted with a self-serve interface to place ads only on their inventory. However, retail media networks increasingly employ a programmatic approach where retail media inventory is connected to off-site properties and third-party media for omnichannel reaching retail campaigns. So this is the same concept, but it is used within the retailer's media network. So what was previously an open system, now this is within the retailers. And there's a great opportunity for ad tech companies. The next point is what is called DOOH, which is nothing but digital OOH. So data seems to indicate that 76% of the marketers plan to increase this advertising budget. 76% of the CMOs or the marketing teams actually want to increase their spend on digital OOH. So this is and it's at a growth stage right now, and it will significantly grow. And it is said that over the next 2 years, 95% of executives expect the DOH market to grow significantly and surpass the $50-55 billion mark. Okay, so this is again from a client's point of view, clients are invested in really driving this category. Next one is about in-chain advertising. This is a promising new pocket of growth for programmatic, especially the rise of native in-game advertising. And I think the Interactive Advertising Bureau globally has already released updates guidelines for intrinsic in-game advertising. And again, this is happening globally inside the game at the time of even transactions within gaming. So there's a huge opportunity of what kind of mnemonics are put in the game, that also is advertised. So fairly big. And one of the things of gaming is that the gaming audience is very highly engaged audience. So this is another area. Then next one is podcast ads. And the CNPs of podcasts rose to $26 in the third quarter of 2022, and it's growing, from around the $22 previously. And the rise in CNPs is propelled by the privacy changes in the ad tech space, which impact mobile ID and third-party cookies and don't directly impact podcasting. This I talked of, because of the specialized nature of content in podcasts, there are groups and consumers who are actually wanting to, have podcasts, both audio and video, and really consume that. So this is an opportunity growth area. Then, function of listenership and viewership. The unique data landscaping podcast ads needs vital partnership with the right third-party attribution vendors. And in 2023, we likely wave a partnership between digital audio companies and programmatic media platforms that can match the listener to their unique data set and find data on that user that also includes the IP address to link that ad exposure to conversion. And as clients, I know that moment we can have an attribution, really the value of that advertising always goes up. So these are, I think, some of my pointers which I had in terms of the overall, ad tech space. I don't have anything more. With this, I'll kind of hand it back to our MC. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Peshwa. Good job.
Suresh, thank you.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Shall
Let's
we
go
open
ahead
the line
and
for
take
questions?
questions. Yes.
Sure. Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. If you have a question, please press star and one on your telephone keypad and wait for your turn to ask the question. If you would like to withdraw your request, you may do so by pressing star and one again. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions, please press star and one on your telephone keypad. The first question comes from Supreet Prabhu, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hi, Suresh. Congrats, first of all, to the entire team.
Thanks. How are you?
Yeah, fine, absolutely fine. Now, the first, you can say thing is that, the phone call is usually for investors. So I think next time we should have more time for questions and less for technical talk, because, investors are mainly interested in the future developments. Now, my question is that, Peshwa has said that we are quoting at a very low PE of about 6 compared to, whatever, something like Trade Desk is probably quoting at 100. Now, even such a gross, undervalued company, now we can restore trust in this. First of all, we have to, do our actions what we speak, in the sense that we have an ESOP trust which was formed and they have a right to buy 5% of the equity. This was done about a year back, but I have not seen any ESOP buying done from the market. The promoters can go ahead and buy some shares to instill trust that they believe themselves in the company, key managerial. So nothing like that is being done. So how can investors believe when the promoters are not buying, the ESOP trust is not buying, and some actions like that have to be done to instill the confidence.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Good question. Yes, ESOP was set up primarily to build a shareholding that can be used for, giving off to the top employees. So yes, it has been set up for a while now. We have not started doing it. We will. I mean, it's a matter of time, and it has to be done at the appropriate time. There were more pressing things that we had to attend to in terms of use of funds and things like that. So which is why it has not been done yet. We will, get to that. That is number one. Promoters buying, yeah, we've had some challenges in terms of, promoter pledges and all those challenges. We're waiting for all that to get cleared. And at the appropriate time, promoters will have an intention to increase the stake for sure. We will do it in due course. I mean, obviously, we believe the company. I think you would agree with me, Mr. Prabhu, that we are putting our heart and soul, putting all available time into the company. I don't think anybody will have questions on that. And so, in fact, whether it's promoters or the management team or the different teams, we are working hard on trying to ensure the performance of the company is in place. And we are not trying to do a show and tell game here. We are trying to actually build a business that shareholders are attracted to. The point well taken, it is trading at a lower PE. We, like Peshwa rightly pointed out, we have identified that this has to be articulated very well to the market in a way that market can understand what we are doing. We don't want to play any games to create artificial demand. We want to do fundamentally right things and ensure that people understand what we do. That's kind of the approach we are taking. Not to take away your suggestions, your points are well taken, sir. Next question.
Thank you, sir. Next question comes from Vaibhav Kare, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Yes, sir.
Yes, Mr. Kare.
Sir. Yeah. So my question, first of all, congratulations on the spectacular result. My question to you, like you mentioned that you and Raju sir, they have met, SEBI officials. So I want to know, like, what was the discussion that happened with them? Like, there must be some kind of, expectation or, what were they expecting? Are we, giving all the documents on time? Or, what was exactly discussed and what is the expected, date of getting that result out?
Okay. Yeah, good. A good question. I think a lot of people are sending this question. You have to remember we are talking about the regulator. So there are things that we are not allowed to talk beyond the conversation that happened. I can broadly tell you, this whole investigation has been done with respect to the impairment that happened in 2022. So we have provided information to a very granular level. So they had a few queries on how and what in terms, because you have to remember we have subsidiaries too, and then if you start looking at data all the way to the 10 subsidiaries up to a transaction level, there will be some lack of understanding on how some treatments are made. So hence we went to clarify that. That is the objective of our visit. And then next step is with respect to when they will get back to us. Obviously, SEBI, we have to give them due time to process. This is a lot of information that they have provided. And everything they have asked, we have provided to this point. And they will process, get back to us. This is all I can tell you at this point. I know that's not the answer you want to hear. You want specific date. But I cannot give any specific dates at this point.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Next question.
Thank you. The next question comes from Surya Vedula, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Hello, Mr. Surya.
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Yes. Hello, Suresh sir. Very good evening. Congratulations on the wonderful results. And it's a great effort by the team. I would like to congratulate everyone in the team. But I mean, I have the same concern. I have been with BCG for like 5 years, but the price is not going up, and I mean, almost all the investors are facing the same issue. So I would request you to kindly put the information in public so that it will increase the price. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you very much. And just to answer your question, we have been working on putting as much as possible without conflict or without violation of any regulatory restrictions, almost as soon as it is available. We are not holding back to anything. But your point is well taken, and we will have to do a better job of clarifying our business, which is the point we're trying to make on this call. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Anything else? Okay, you're still there, Surya. Anything else you had?
Yeah, that's it. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next question comes from Ayan Bide, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hi, Suresh. Good evening.
Good evening, Ian. How are you?
I'm doing good, Suresh.
Please go ahead.
Good evening to Mr. Raju and Mr. Acharya too. Suresh, we have emphasized on the balancing the SHP pattern, the structure, the shareholding pattern.
Okay.
Hello. So right now we are having about 15% stake held by FIs. Some holding a sizable quantity, some in in different percentage. Not too big also. But if I go to see, there are hardly any DIs. They are mostly token, index funds that have come in because they hold that particular index fund. They are not like come in gung-ho owning the stock. So don't you think we need even, Indian markets, which are actually, if you've seen this last 6 months, our Indian markets stood tall within all this, the bloodbath that was going on in worldwide. Even the Nasdaq fell to say 11,000, but the Indian markets was hitting new highs. That's because the DIs are flush with funds, and every time our Indian markets see some DIs, supporting. So why aren't we arranging analyst meet or something like that? So to give them an insight of what a company is actually. And we are the best in the tech space listed in India. So we should show them what we are. I mean, unless we don't take a shot to them.
I get your point.
Yeah.
Let me answer your question.
Your
question. Yeah, and it's all stages. It goes in stages. When we didn't have much holding, our objective was to get it out there and get more and more institutional investors to come on board. Now we are going, like you said, fine-tooth comb. We are going and say, yeah, these are all coming from outside. Some of them, we have FIIs, which is foreign institutional investors, and we don't have enough domestic. Point well taken. We are, again, we have been talking to a few domestic players. We have not done an analyst meet. We are waiting for a few things to get completed and few things to be, sorted out, which is why the analyst meet has been, just postponed by a bit. We will see at the right time. I think maybe next quarter we might do a analyst meet based on how things play out.
Okay. And if I can take this a little bit, pardon me. Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
This is just loud thinking. I'm thinking out loud. Why can't we do a small, QIP, like to LIC or HDFC or ICI mutual funds at, 20p or something, which is a win-win for them and a win-win for us because we get a big name also. A small, like 1% or something of equity. And we can raise funds also.
Yeah. I mean, these are all good points. Yeah, we will take into account. Yeah, I mean, we can't talk this beyond this point, I guess.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That's all from my side. Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks for being on the call.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Should we call it? Okay, one more question. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, sir. The last question of the day comes from Vidya Sagar Reddy, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
Yeah,
yes,
sir.
Please go ahead, sir. I'm good.
Can I speak in Telugu?
No. Please talk in English because other
Okay. Actually, I'm an individual investor, sir. Okay.
Yes, sir.
My problem is also the same as most of the retail investors are facing the share price. Okay. Actually, from last 1 year, I am with you, sir. But all the actually during these days, 1 year back, share price was almost 4 times, sir. But still, we are facing the problem, sir.
Hello. Please continue, sir. Hello.
Vidya Sagar, sir.
Did we lose him?
I'm sorry, he got dropped.
Okay. Thank you all for being on the call today. And I hope we've answered all your questions. And if you have further questions, kindly write them to us. And like we mentioned in our disclosure yesterday, we are going to initiate a new line to have ease of people calling in. Let's see how that plays out. And please do give us feedback on how it's working. And we will continue to work with you to improve on that. That's all I had. Thanks again.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the conference call for today. Thank you for your participation and for using Doorsabha's conference call service. You may disconnect your lines now. Thank you.